how's it going? Thank you for watching my video here. First thing I did, I just got everything all laid out, got my paper taped down, and I got my pens that I'm going to be using. I'll display in the corner which pens I'm going to be using for this tutorial, as well as the type of paper. I've already lightly penciled my drawing in. First thing I'm going to do, just to build up my confidence and what I'm working on, I'm just going to lightly, with a 0.2 Rotwing ink pen, I'm just going to sort of go over lightly, outline the main parts of my drawing here. So we have a silo, and there's some bit of foliage at the base of it, not a lot. And then we got the top of the silo here. I'm going very light, that way if I screw up too much, it won't be the end of the world to fix it. And I always like to say, you don't have to be 100% with landscapes, buildings, things like that. So we got this little thing at the top here. I'm not sure what it is. I'll draw it in anyways. And there's a little door here. Probably where they, too sure. Maybe this is the ventilation for the grain. If anybody's a farmer out there, they can tell me what this little door at the top is. And maybe this little thing up here is like a whirlybird for ventilation, perhaps. I'm not too sure. There's a little thing above it too. Concentric rings, evenly spaced, go down the silo. Now, obviously they change as you get down as per the perspective, because we're going to be looking above you down at the barn here. In the photo, there's a lot of junk piled up around the barn, but I'm not going to show it too much. Maybe this little item, I'll just show this here. It's where the ground changes around the barn perimeter here. Bush here, junk, and whatever else here. So we got some foliage back here as well. I'm not sure what these are now, actually. I was thinking they're whirlybirds. I'm not too sure now. Maybe they're just some sort of decorative thing. I was almost tempted not to draw them in because they're so odd looking. I'm just going to very lightly. The basic mushroom shape of them. If anybody knows, again, if anyone knows what those are, just leave a comment down in the comment section. Just tell me what you think they are. Whirlybirds, ventilation, decorative. Okay, we got a bit of a crack up here on the roof here. Some missing shingles here. Quickly scratch this in here, like that. It appears this is a metal roof, and this is some type of shingle roof here. So the metal roof is in good condition. The other roof is all messed up pretty badly there. So I'm going to probably fake the landscape a bit. Tree in here. Got another one down like that. And this little roadway that comes around like this. It disappears off like that. Now, I got my photo reference here, so I'm going to just start to this little guy right in here. I think it's just a little over this hatchway, a little triangular thing here. Probably just to shed the rain a bit. Switch to my 5. I got a problem with my 0.5. It seems to be dripping quite a bit, actually. I think because the aperture is so large, the ink is too watery. I don't know if you can see that or not. It drips. I have to just, on another sheet of paper, I have to just, when it drips like that after use, I just gotta get rid of the excess ink there. I'm not too sure why it does that. Alright, that looks pretty good. I'm going to quickly do this one in pencil because it is a lot of these little lines. I just want to pencil it first. That way if I screw up, I can forgive myself. I'm okay with this. This is going to be my foliage at the bottom here. I'm going to go a little bit different than I did with the photo. Change my camera angle so I'm not looking straight down because because I'm left-handed, my hand always blocks everything. So the slight angle, maybe be able to see things a little bit better. My next video I'll probably change the camera angle again. But I hope this is okay. It's a slight angle. And so it helps you to see a little better what I'm doing. As I make my videos, I begin to learn new video editing skills. As you saw at the beginning, my new little intro that I came up with. So that's going to be my new little thing at the start. This collage of some of my artwork. And I'll update that as I go. And if I do a video about animals, drawing animals, I'll have a collage of animal drawings I've done in the past more. Or maybe if I'm doing a drawing about so I got my small brush and a little bit of ink wash here. I use these film canisters. You know, they don't have film canisters anymore, but I had a bunch of them, and they make good cases for holding paint because you can plop the lid on. They're fairly airtight, and they stay sealed for quite a while. So I'm going to do this little guy right here. If I get to layer the paint as I go. So the light is over here. I should have mentioned that earlier. I like to leave a little white areas. It doesn't exactly show like that on the drawings. I just like the look of it. I should have done that with these ones here. I should have started over here. As I go over with the ink wash, right, it begins to lighten up a bit. I'm not going to leave light areas everywhere. I'll leave these light areas here, I think. And this is like where the paint kind of wore off, the barn. I mean the silo, sorry. So when you do your drawings, you kind of have to work in layers. See, like if you want to consider the first layer was the penciling, and the second layer was going over it and outlining the ink, and then the third layer is going back over different sections. So I'll do this, and then I'll go do the roof, and then this roof, and then I'll do the siding and the gables afterwards. And then, as with this silo here, right, I detailed in some of the paint is chipped off and just the rings of the silo. So now I'm just going back over and highlighting the where the paint is completely gone away. And then when that's done, I'll go back over it again. Why? Why not? So I want it to look fairly rough. I just go with each ring section. I'm intentionally making it scratchy like that. Sometimes in an area like this, I would do a water. I'd wipe it down with, I'll put down some water first because I want it to look fairly rough. I'm just going over it, and as my brush loses its ink wash, it begins to become scratchy on the dry surface, which is fine. Kind of getting the look I want. Darken this up. Pretty good there. I think I'm going to go back over my shadow here on that little mushroom thing on the roof to make it stand out a bit more. That's fine. Right here. Alright, I think that's pretty good. So I'm just going dot, 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 dot. I think I'll do this. Just show some weathering, some more weathering. I do this a lot. I'll draw these vertical lines. Especially I'll do it around like where the roof meets a wall, for example. But I'll do it at each concentric ring here. If you look at my photo, it does appear to be a bit of a seam in the metal. Very light. The entire length here. Actually, yeah, they do go all the way around. I guess there's like these panel sections, how this thing was built. So they use these curved sections that were probably 10 feet by 10 feet, and each one probably had an arc radius of 5 degrees. So they put them all together, right? These little squiggly lines that I use for drawing bushes, trees, or whatever off in the distance, it may seem tedious, but it's actually a little bit therapeutic, actually. Especially I like drawing little tiny things like this. And it is actually a good drawing exercise to do. I hope you can see that. I just, it's darker here on each side. So light here, obviously, again, because this light's coming from this way, right? And then we got this big, huge bugger back here. Yeah, I should have mentioned I'm using the 0.3 for this one. Just because I wanted a little bit darker. Nice thing about the wrought wing, the metal tip never wears out. It is a bit abrasive on the paper, but you never have to worry about it fading, except at the very, very point where you're at your very last micro drop of ink in your ink well. At that point, it'll start to fade a bit, which is no big deal because you just use the little ink refiller, which has a little eyedropper at the front. Maybe one day I'll do a video about cleaning and refilling these things and how to keep from drying out. There is a slight maintenance process. Like if you don't use them for a while, you just gotta go to them every other day or whatever and just shake them up and draw a few lines just to get out that dry ink out of the end. The little metal shaft at the end there, because that can dry out. If you can hear that sound, that means it's clear. But if it dried out, you wouldn't hear that at all, or it would be like a different pitch, almost like a lower thumping sound. In which case I just completely take them apart and just let them sit in some water for a while. They're fairly easy to clean. They're very forgiving. Except when you refill them up with ink, the little ink cartridge, when you refill that up, when you put it back together again, because it's so airtight, it pushes out all the air and a little bit of ink or whatever that's at the end, so you get a blister of ink that comes out at the end. So you have to have some paper towel on hand. Whatever you do it away from any drawings, whatever. Just do it on a separate table, away from anything. You have some paper towel right there, and the paper towel will absorb up any ink. So we're gonna have a bit of a shadow here because we're in the corner here out of the light. I think I'm gonna go back over that a little bit darker with the shadow. Hope I don't regret this. doing this, but no, it's okay. And right here, and just darken this up a bit right here. Time to move on to the next part. I'm not going to go into heavy detail here. I'm just going to indicate that there's some Okay, now let's get to the roof here. Draw these little mushroom things in here. Just 3 of them along the roof here. I always like putting in my fascia board first. So this is a bit of a metal roof. There's some corrugated, the sheets are corrugated. So maybe this is probably the best way to show it. But obviously I want it to look aged, so I'm not going to be all nice and neat with it. I am going fairly light. Yeah, I think this will work. Actually, I think there's a little bit of a, right up at the ridge here. Barely see it on the photo. So again, this is my ink wash, actually the same wash I was using for here. And I'm just going back and forth. And I let my brush dry out almost completely. And it just gives me that appearance there. So maybe I'll just add a few little darker areas here and there. Like as with the silo, this is where the original paint obviously faded out, peeled off. That's what I'm trying to show here from the original photograph. Oh, it might have went a little too dark there, but it's okay. I'm going to do the next roof here now. I switched over to a 0.2. Just now we got these areas here where the roof has been torn off. And obviously below that you're going to be able to see the structure of the barn. So I'm going to draw that in here. So I'm going to do the walls now, and I'm actually just going to maybe pencil it in first, just so it's a little clearer to see. We got a line here, and another one here, approximately like this. And then we got a door right here, about here. This one is, you can't really see it. I'm just going to draw a bunch of bushes around here and things like that. And it's just like that, pretty much. Just to remind myself here. So it appears to be like sheet metal on the one side and wood on these two sides here, I believe. I have to draw this in right here like this. So this is just actually the track where the door slides back and forth on. That's all that is. And we got a little bit of a seam here. It goes like this, very light actually. Another one here. And it just continues right across. Another seam right here. It's probably just where the sheet metal pieces, right? And very lightly. So this doesn't show it on the drawings, but I'm actually going to show this door open. I think it would just be a little bit nicer effect or look for the drawing. And there, just have the door slightly open. There. And I'll just ink this in dark. And my picking pen sometimes here. Actually, I'm going to use the ink brush for this. This is a pretty large area here. This is where you gotta be very careful when you go back, and this is still damp. You gotta be very careful around here. Make sure I don't touch that area there until it's dry, because the ink will stay damp. Even if it feels damp, put your hand on it. The moisture from your hand will smudge it, even if it's dry for like at least, I think maybe like half an hour even. So these lines here, I'm going to, I want these ones to be fairly straight. So I'm going to draw them in by a ruler. So I just come back over here to my end here just to make sure that I'm going to line up. So as I'm going closer to here, bring my boards slightly closer together. And I'm not too concerned about how it's skipping. Actually, that looks kind of nice actually to leave it like that. Even right here, it completely skipped, but you'll understand in a moment why I'm not too concerned about that or all this mess up here. I'm not going to worry about that and cover all that up shortly. The board planks, I believe, are a little bit short, so there's like a bit of a, they're in groups. So where the board planks end, there's a bit of a line here. So we're going to do here for these areas, I'm actually going to, so I wanted to show a few missing board pieces. I'll just draw a line just to follow as a guide. That's all. I'm not going to go too crazy with it. Because this tutorial is about the barn, I'm not going to videotape or lead you through this part here where I'm drawing these little bushes here. I'm just going to skip most of that or time-lapse most of it anyways. But I do like to finish the whole picture anyways. I have a few other videos for drawing bushes similar to this. You can watch if you like. I'm going to go back and highlight this area here. I'll just be a little bit darker down here behind these bushes. That should be fine, I think. So I'm going to draw this side here now. Same way I did this. Here's my roller ruler. And it's very important that when I come to the end here that this lines up. It's going to be like this. Oops, wrong pen. Use the 0.2, not the 0.3. So right here, it's important that I sort of darken up this area just to make it obvious that this is this doesn't continue right across. Darker here. Do what I like what I did here. I'm just going to pull out a few boards. Okay, that's it for this part. I'm actually going to switch over to the landscape, but I'm not going to really record too much of that. Well, that took me forever to do that grass. So I'm just about done here. I'm just going to draw in the shadows here. And I'm going to call it, that's it. I'm not going to do anything more than that.